Hi, Ariel. Is Dana moving away from the UFC perhaps for boxing? His appearances are becoming less and less frequent. No, I think he just, I mean, I'll admit, like, it's a little weird that he's, where was it? It was Jersey last week. He wasn't at like the press conference and all that, and he was promoting his drink, right? But I think the train can go. Look, here's the thing. I think it is such a well-oiled machine. We are not in 2009, 2010 territory where he has to go out there, do a million interviews, do the scrums, talk to newspapers, talk to everyone, and sell everyone on what it is. The work is done. Now, is there a benefit at times to having him there? Yes. But you can also make the case, if I'm just being 1,000% honest, that he does more harm than good. Like Saturday's post-fight press conference was not one for the highlight reel. He seemed disinterested. He seemed apathetic. He seemed like he wasn't like fully up to date with everything. The part that like makes me cringe inside is when he goes to these press conferences and someone's like, so like, who do you think is next for Josh Van? Like, come on, you really think he's going to tell you like about the 12th ranked flyweight or something like that? Or they'll ask him about like, some Swedish or European fighter on the prelims. Like, what did you think of him? And yeah, he's good. It's good. See how it all plays out. So that's a little uncomfortable. And so I think that when it comes to the Dana that we see at Slap Fighting, and even with this new project, with the boxing stuff, you'll see elements of the old Dana coming out where he's passionate. He has to be passionate about the project. And I think there's a part of him that thinks like the job is done here. And the whole thing could kind of roll without him. I'm not asking for this, but if Dana just stepped aside tomorrow, I don't necessarily think the product takes a hit. Does anyone disagree? He's not doing the negotiation. He's still very much affiliated and in many respects the face, but it's not from like a PR standpoint. It's more from like a figurehead standpoint.
Yeah, I think the product would take a hit, but it would be in that the UFC loses one of its biggest stars. That would be it. Like it would be the equivalent of, taking the hit that they're going to take when John Jones goes away. Like they're losing somebody who's a bankable star for them in Dana White. It's not the business. It's not the operations of it. It's the face of it.
What odds would you give on him being around for the next broadcast deal, Ariel? Not this one, the next one.
Well, we don't know how long it's going to be. Let's say it's going to be, I don't know, 7 years.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to go anywhere, to be honest. Like, I think this is his life. I think he loves
I was going to say, I feel like the odds are like minus 500, minus 1,000. He'll still be around.
Yeah. By the way, look at the lifers. Bob Arum, Don King, Vince McMahon. They don't go anywhere. They worked so hard to build this. Why would they? Now, they could keep this and also start building other things, which is what you're seeing Dana do now. But I don't think he wants... Look at him now. He's walking out with the president. He's got all the celebrities there. He's got the multi-billion-dollar deals. Like, why walk away from this? And also, you're not in the weeds. Like, Hunter Campbell is doing the weed work, if you will. He's doing the negotiation. Like, it's the perfect setup. Show up, do a couple interviews, do some face-offs. It's a great gig. So
the trouble hearing at the press conference.
Yeah.
Sorry, what is that? What did he say?
Speaking of which, from our boy Abe, hello Ariel. How will history reflect on UFC/Dana's handling of Jones and heavyweight? As you say, they've now pulled out the stops to make Tom versus Jones, but when considering the full story, they quote unquote fumbled the bag. At the very least, make Jones versus Aspinall instead of a Stipe fight Dana pretended was must see. I don't think John was taking that fight. So it was either you're getting John or you're not. Add to that, Dana's ego costing us Jones versus Ngannou at least once. I mean, John wasn't really all that interested as well. You could say that to a degree, but there were more players involved. And even if Jones left, no harm, no foul, we see Aspinall versus Ngannou at least once. Aspinall wasn't a player back in 2020 or something like that when they were trying to make that fight. And even 2 years ago, he wasn't who he is today. Instead, Prime Aspinall's shelved and almost cleaned out of the division. I believe that's why Dana's so desperate to produce the fight and paper over the cracks of mishandling the division. He'll boast making it the biggest fight ever, when in reality, Jones, Tom, and Francis, between the three of them, you had at least 3 super fights. Thoughts? The UFC has had super fights slip through the cracks in the past. Anderson versus GSP, Randy versus Fedor, Brock versus Fedor. There's been, those are 3. Jones versus Anderson was talked about at one point. Jones versus Ngannou, Jones versus Aspinall now. So this isn't necessarily new, but it does feel like it's a little bit more frequent. I mean, I would even put Ilya versus Islam as a potential huge miss. Like that could have been gigantic.
Definitely.
But ultimately, I don't think it's going to be it'll be a bigger stain on Jones's legacy than Dana's legacy.
But also, by the way, I mean, let the record show, Francis Ngannou came on this program and said they offered him the money to fight John Jones. Like, that was what the deal was.
Yep.
Francis Ngannou went a differerent direction. That was not Dana White's ego. That was Francis Ngannou saying, I want this offer over this offer. They wanted him to fight John Jones. So that's not on Dana. The offer was what the offer was, and Francis went a different direction. But that's not Dana.
And this time around, according to my reporting, they have given, or at least offered John what he wanted.
Yeah, that's not Dana then.
That's not Dana. Sorry. Speaking of Dana, from Cosmo Kramer, good afternoon, Ariel and crew. Dana White called you to ask for your advice. How nice. He needs a September pay-per-view to hold since Noche was switched to a fight night. He wants you to pick the location and the main and co-main to generate the most viewership possible for the fighters that are currently not booked. Where and who are you choosing? Have a nice day. Wow, what a question. I like this. Well, you have to look at who's available, right? So Pantoja will have fought in. I'm going through the roster here, the rankings.
Islam v.
Islam v JDM.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, if there are no roadblocks, and Ilya gets by Charles, I revisit that. That's the biggest I can make.
Tom and John now, right? Because they're both not booked.
Yeah, but let's assume that they're not available. There's Marab out there. What do we got here? Oh, there's Marab out there. Volk out there. There's JDM. There's Islam. DDP will have fought in August. Oh, there's Zhang Weili versus Valentina. Can I do Ilya versus Islam and Zhang versus Valentina? I like that 1-2 punch.
Ilya's booked.
No, I'm saying he gets by Charles. He fights 2 months later. What do you think?
I like it, but
risque?
I think you're following the rules if I'm being honest.
Why? The fight's in 2 weeks.
Because fucking Ilya's booked. He said he isn't booked.
Okay, well, Zhang versus Valentina. And can I do an all-women's card? Kayla versus Amanda?
That'll play.
Marab v. Volk.
Pereira versus Ankalaev? No? Don't love it? Who is Volk's? Volk's number 1 contender?
Marab super fight.
Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen versus Volkanovski and Zhang versus Valentina. Where is it happening? The UBS Arena on Long Island. Oh, I should do that. I should do that Long Island card. I should do that Long Island.
Go, yeah.
That's the one. That's the one that Frivola. Yeah. Thanks for watching this video. Before you go, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for us. Also, give us a thumbs up. Leave a nice comment. These things go a long way. And while you're here, do check out the rest of the channel. We've got live shows and full interviews, clips, and a whole lot more. We're doing big things here, and we appreciate your support very much.